Roster Watch Nation, how are we doing? I am Cody Carpentier. You can find me on X at Cody Carpentier, and I'm back today with another 2024 wide receiver rookie spotlight. This time, the star or the sidekick, maybe some people might think, but he did lead the college football in touchdowns in 2023 with 17. Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. His counterpart was, of course, Malik Nabers at Louisiana State University. But first and foremost, I want to ask you guys to please click that like button. Please click subscribe as you come in here. If you tapped in on YouTube, if you are tapped in on Twitter, just click that heart button. We appreciate you guys for coming in on here. If you are listening on podcast, of course, leave a 5-star review, and we're going to keep on pumping out this content. I have planned to do 3 spotlights this week, 3 spotlights next week, and then we'll see what's going on from there. But again, we're 3 weeks out from the NFL Combine. We're getting hot. We're getting heavy. The receiving stuff is just about done. We're talking running backs. We're talking everything over here at RosterWatch. Make sure you stay tapped in at RosterWatch on every single social that is out there and that is available. Once again, thank you guys for always supporting over at rosterwatch.com, becoming a pro or a premium member. Now, my rookie spotlight on Mr. Brian Thomas. It's a big conversation because Malik Nabers right now, there is people in the NFL circles talking about Malik Nabers as, we might have him number 1 over Marvin Harrison. You heard that buzz at the Senior Bowl down there in Mobile. Now, of course, Marvin Harrison's a Greek god, but Brian Thomas played with Malik Nabers, and Brian Thomas is also getting a lot of conversation in the top 5, sometimes as that number 3 wide receiver for some people on the old Twitter, on the old X app. Brian Thomas, let's break him down here. 6'4", 205 pounds. Those are unverified numbers for Brian Thomas, a long receiver. He's 21 and a half years old. We got him as an October birthday. And my personal projection for him is something like a Justin Hunter. I think when you're looking at a fantasy output, you're looking at a Christian Watson type of a rookie season. Christian Watson finished at wide receiver 41 during his rookie season just a few seasons ago. Martavis Bryant with the Pittsburgh Steelers had similar upside downfield. You kind of can build the archetype that I'm feeling right here. And Justin Hunter from the University of Tennessee was a guy that really came to mind when I'm watching Brian Thomas's tape. And no, it's not just the number. It's just go turn on that Justin Hunter tape at Tennessee, and you'll see why I say that. Brian Thomas is a legit weapon when you're talking about downfield threats and what he can do, 20 plus yards down the field. But I think that's kind of where it stops for me. Brian Thomas is a very good athlete downfield. He's got very long legs, very long levers. 10 of his 17 touchdowns were 25 plus yards downfield. Now, a lot of that did come over the course of the last season. In 2021, he had 359 receiving yards, 361 in 2022. Jayden Daniels and Brian Kelly, head coach Brian Kelly, came in 2022 to LSU. In 2023, it started to tick. Yards per reception, 11.6 to 17.3. The ADOT jumped from 10 to 13.9. They started to realize how to utilize Brian Thomas. The one thing that directly scares me with this situation translating to the NFL is that he's not as efficient as a Christian Watson is. And Christian Watson by no means is the most efficient player underneath with this 6'4", 205-pound frame. I'm projecting about a 4.48 40-yard dash. I could see him going up to about a 4.44, but 4.48 40-yard dash. He's not as efficient on those underneath routes. He's not going to win as much underneath routes. And that's what scares the transition of Brian Thomas to the NFL for me. I currently have him as a 2nd-round grade. He did not, like I said, break out until this season at age 21. I think he separates at the catch point with late hands. His contortion ability is up there with some of the best of them. He also has the length to kind of create that. When I say contortion ability is kind of the catch radius, right? That's really what that is. And the famous thing is when you see them in the corner of the end zone and the ball's maybe back here and he's going this way and he comes all the way around and catches that football. That's kind of what I call contortion ability. I think Brian Thomas brings that to the table. I think he has the ability to put his foot in the ground, turn upfield, pull away from defenders. His length throughout his legs is really what that is. He's not a quick, bursty, agile player, but he does have the length and the acceleration. I definitely wouldn't say of a Tesla, but I would say of it's solid. It's solid. And he's not a yak player. He's not a tackle breaker. He might break the first tackle, but it's not going to break the second one. Really what he is if he's even, he's leaving. That's what he is. He's got the long strides. He's a good manipulator early on in routes. I think he can get a cornerback a little slipping. He lined up a couple times against Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold against Alabama, and they gave him 5. They gave him 6. They gave him 7 yards at the line of scrimmage, and that was respect. And that was what a lot of defensive coordinators gave Brian Thomas in college, especially in 2023, playing with Jayden Daniels, the Heisman winner, and playing at LSU, a team that scored what felt like 45, 50, 60 points every single week. They had to respect him. And that's one thing that having a Malik Nabers on their side does help. Having Jayden Daniels does help. But also, you have to respect what Brian Thomas is. He's a very good athlete, but I don't want to corner him and say he's one-dimensional. I don't think he's one-dimensional. I just think there's work that needs to be done to address his route tree where he succeeds a lot downfield. But can you just say, yep, he's going to be, he's going to be what, again, you can't say he's going to be what Randy Moss was. Randy Moss won a lot downfield, but Randy Moss could take a slant to the house. Randy Moss could take a quick bubble screen and do things with it where his speed was at a different level and his playmaking ability was at a different level. Brian Thomas, I don't want to, like I said, corner, but it's like it feels like a little bit of a Martavis Bryant, feels like a little bit of a Justin Hunter, where that downfield stuff is going to be where he wins a lot. And what I come away with in that situation and projecting that to the NFL is you're going to need it to be on a team that is willing to play a brand of football that's going to not game plan to give him the ball, but game plan to utilize him more than once a game. You can't have him go out there and just run a bunch of fly routes and the defense is just going to say, well, if we just stick with him or we just have a safety on that side, they're not going to throw the football to him. Like, you need to have a potent offense with a quarterback that's able to get that ball downfield, 20 plus yards downfield, willing to push that football. And like I said, have things in the game plan to push the ball to Brian Thomas. You can't have him on a uninspired offense with a offensive coordinator that's unwilling to put the ball in a certain guy's hands in a certain situation, a la 2022. Think of Arthur Smith. Think of having Desmond Ridder at quarterback. That's a situation that you're probably not going to, again, that situation doesn't exist anymore because Arthur Smith doesn't have the job, but that's a situation where I would not want to see Brian Thomas land in the NFL. So that's where I come around on him. I think he's a really good receiver. Do I think that the first round conversations are warranted right now in the NFL draft? Sort of. I understand it, but again, I think it has to be a certain offense. It has to work. 2023, he had 24% of the team's receptions, 27% of the team's receiving yards, 39% of the team's touchdowns. Again, led the college football in touchdowns last year. He was a 4-star prospect in 2021. Basically, I think Brian Thomas is going to be a good receiver if in a good offense. For fantasy football, he's going to be scary. Like I said, you have the upside and the ability to be a Christian Watson, but what comes with Christian Watson is 6-point weeks, 8-point weeks as well. You're going to get many opportunities. I think his head is on his shoulders well, so that kind of takes out the Martavis Bryant conversation. It's the type of player when I bring up Martavis Bryant. He's going to be a very volatile play style for college football. Sorry, for college football. For fantasy football, he's going to be very volatile. I think he can contribute to league-winning games, but he also has the ability to nuke your lineup any given week. Brian Thomas is a very good receiver, but for me, he's going to be outside my top 5, probably a little bit closer to number 10. My name is Cody Carpentier, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in to my rookie spotlight on Mr. Brian Thomas, the wide receiver from LSU. Make sure you click that subscribe button and stay tuned in at Roster Watch as we'll be breaking down more and more prospects as the NFL Combine gets closer and as the NFL Draft draws near. We appreciate you guys. We love you, and we'll see you next time.